All right, welcome to our February Answers for You presentation. This is our 20th presentation that we've done over the last 2 years. And we're very pleased today to have the leadership of SRS here to give you some updates, go over some metrics and some accomplishments. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our Executive Director, Christy Billinger.
Great. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, David. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this chilly morning. I realize that this is one of those mornings that everyone would like to stay in and just kind of sleep in. And since we're on Zoom, maybe some of you did. But welcome to our session. I do want to take just a minute to thank David. He mentioned that this is our 20th presentation. This has been a lot of effort and coordination on David's part. And I should knock on some wood because every one of these presentations goes off without a hitch due to his expert organization. And so thank you, David. These sessions are so important for our research community. And so we appreciate all that you do to organize these.
Thank you.
Yes. This morning we have with us, I don't know if you guys can see us very well. I'm Christy Billinger. I have Leslie Bell next to me, Chrissy Strada, Leonardo Horvat, and Julie Bishop may join us a little bit later. And of course, you all know David. Okay, so our mission at SRS, we were established in 2011. So last fall, we were able to celebrate our 10 years in existence at SRS. Our mission is to be leaders in research administration and experts in the field while serving the research community at Texas A&M. Okay, our vision, minimize the administrative burden of the research process. We know that this is always an ongoing challenge. The things at the federal level change often. And so we are always looking for ways to streamline, work efficiently, and just reduce the burden where and when we can. Some of the burden is necessary just due to the things that our sponsors or the federals require. Deliver the best possible service. That is always part of our vision. Improve the communication throughout the research community. We're doing that through things such as the AnSRS4U. We do post things in the CPI newsletter. So there are different ways that we're always looking to communicate with the research community. If you all have other ideas that we can continue to improve upon this communication, just let us know. Maintain the trustworthy, open-minded relationships, always. Uphold high ethical standards. Even though we are always trying to find ways to solve problems and help people do what they want, of course, there are limitations on things that we can do sometimes. Always looking at the ethical point of view. Ensure compliance at all levels. As I mentioned earlier, this is an ongoing challenge. This is something that over the last 15 years at the federal level, compliances are just becoming more and more stringent, more and more of them. So we're always keeping our eye on that. Develop a culture of mutual respect, of course. Exhibit leadership in research administration. This one is really important to our leadership team and me personally. We at SRS try very hard to train and educate our staff and give them the support that they need. Also reaching across the research community. If there are things that need to be done or questions to be asked or challenges on research projects, we really want folks to reach out to us to try to help them find ways to solve problems. Collaborate to develop consistent and efficient procedures. We are always looking for those efficiencies to reduce those burdens for administration as well as investigators. Engage in training and professional development. Again, one of the things we've done over the last few years here at SRS is we really focus on training our folks in those professional development opportunities. Our highly trained staff serves all of us at SRS as well as the PIs and the departments and our members in the best possible way. maximize the benefits of technology. Anytime that we can use an electronic system to support the work that we do and remove manual processes, we are all about that. All right, services of SRS. Proposal, actually, we can probably just click through these real quick because we will go over each of these in more detail throughout the presentation. So that's just a quick look at all of the services offered within the organization. Okay, so you all have probably seen this org chart before, but we just wanted to put it up in case it's new to anyone. We'll just go over it at a high level real quickly. Our office reports up to the Vice President for Research. Right now, the interim VPR is Jack Baldoff. Our organization is divided by members, and as you can see here, we have associate executive directors that support different members. You can see that on the org chart. And then within each of those, under those associate executive directors, they have pre-award and post-award functions on each of those teams. You'll also see on this slide that Leonarda, who is the director of Maestro, also reports to SRS. So one of the things that we'll talk about here in a little bit as we talk about each of the units, each of the functional areas, we'll talk a little bit about our metrics, and we'll talk about the workload and kind of averages of whatever that functional area may be, proposals, contracts, projects, the workload of each of those staff and those members. And something that you'll see on the slides is an average workload if we were fully staffed. So one of the challenges that we are currently having, and it's not just at SRS, I believe it's across the entire TAMA system, is that because at this time, A&M is not offering remote work, we are having a little bit of trouble attracting good applicant pools in some cases, and employee retention has become a little bit more of an issue. So even though when looking at those metrics, it says if we're fully staffed, that X number is that workload, keep in mind that right now, a lot of those units are not fully staffed due to those challenges. And again, I know that some of you are feeling those pressures as well. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy, and she's going to talk to us about the proposal preparation and submission.
Okay, so when a PI, so we're just going to kind of go walk through a little bit high level of what each of these functional areas do, and then we're going to go into look at a little bit of volume and the metrics, like Christy said. So as you know, when a PI is interested in submitting a proposal for external funding, they engage with their SRS proposal administrator. So the proposal administrators, they assist the researchers with the preparation, the submission of the proposal for the external funding. So they do the budget development, they complete most of the administrative sections of the proposal. They make sure that everything is compliant with A&M policies, system member requirements, state and federal regulation, and also then the funding agency's terms and conditions. So there's a lot that goes into that piece of the compliance piece of making sure that everything is in line. They then take it and they enter it into Maestro, and also in which Maestro interfaces with Cayuse. And I didn't put that on that slide, but they do work in the electronic systems. Oftentimes they are having to work in other sponsor systems. So not only are they working in Maestro or Cayuse, they're also maybe potentially working in another portal, so to speak. So they're juggling many things at one time. So after they've entered it into Maestro, where then it routes for approvals of the appropriate stakeholders, they submit the proposal to the sponsor, and they also track the successful receipt of the proposal. And then we wait. So this is proposals by the numbers. So to give you some idea of the volume of proposals that come out of SRS, this is a snapshot from 2016 all the way to 2021. So in 21, we submitted 5,108 proposals. So this slide right here further breaks down those numbers. It's by member. As you know, we serve, these are the members that we serve. And it shows fiscal year 20 and 21. We did only two years on this slide, but you can see from 20 to 21, the grand total goes from to 5108. Christy mentioned that we were going to talk a little bit about the average that a proposal administrator is average workload right now. So if we were fully staffed, our proposal administrators on average are submitting about 138 proposals per FTE. So that's quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to go into if a PI is successful in receiving the award, oftentimes it will come in the form of a contract or a cooperative agreement, which may require some negotiation. Oftentimes a lot of negotiation, a lot of back and forth. So the contract negotiator, they require review. The contract negotiator reviews the contract. They're making sure to protect the interest of the researcher and the system member. So they also review all the terms and conditions for a federal, state nonprofit. They are also working very diligently to get the best, most favorable contract for the university or this other system members that everybody can agree to. So it often takes a little bit of time. Sponsors are not always willing to make the changes that we need, but they work really hard to get the most favorable terms and conditions. They also, at many times, they may have to consult with other system offices such as general counsel, technology and commercialization, and also the appropriate A&M system member administration for items such as risk, things of that nature. We also negotiate industry contracts for TAMU, HSC, and TTI. And again, this is contracts by the numbers. So as you can see, in 2021, we negotiated 3,731 total contracts, which is quite a jump from FY 2020. And if you can see down here, 187 contracts per negotiator, as if we were fully staffed. This is what the number would look like. Leslie.
Okay, I'm just going to go quickly. There's a couple of slides here about our award and account setup team. So back in 2018, through Christy's vision, we set up the expediting team. You guys probably hear it called AASET is the acronym used. These guys take in a lot of information. They make sure that all the hard work that the proposal administrators have done and the contract negotiators have done to answer the question that every researcher asks is, where's my project? So they work really hard to get awards set up in a very timely manner. And they also ensuring that data integrity is upheld as well. So going to the next slide. This is just an overview for the last couple of years of all the work that they've done. They have really great statistics. So you can see that over 60% of our awards are set up in less than 5 days, and 83% of those awards are set up in less than 10 days. So once we get into the delta of 11 to 31 days, there's typically a compliance matter that needs to be addressed, or maybe a contractual agreement, like Chrissy mentioned, IP or something along those lines, an IRB, an ICOOC measure that needs to be handled. But the team works diligently between day 11 and day 31 because they want those stats to be really high as well, to make sure that all the compliance measures are met to be able to establish the project in a timely manner.
Okay, so this is Julie. After AASET has set up the project, they task it to their project administrator who does a QC on the project setup and gets familiar with their project. I talk about our project administration, and a project administrator is kind of a jack of all trades. They kind of have to know everything. They got to know a little bit about pre-award, because sometimes they have to reach back out to the pre-award folks. They have to know a lot about the contracts, and then they also work very closely with our accounts receivable team so that we can get financial status reports submitted and invoices out the door. So they work with our PIs. They help our PIs make sure that they can expend their projects in a compliant manner, timely. They make sure that there's good burn rates on the projects for the PIs. They work closely with the sponsors if PI needs to do any kind of rebudgeting or anything of that sort. And they work with departmental administrators on any kind of corrections that need to be made and that sort of stuff. So we have basically, we have 54 FTEs that manage research projects at SRS for our members. This is by the numbers, a snapshot in time. This 5314 total active projects can increase or decrease on any day, given whether a project has ended and closed out, or whether we're getting new projects in. So that's just a snapshot. It's not a steady number. It can go up or down. After, so like I've mentioned before, our project post-award team works very closely with our accounts receivable team. The accounts receivable team does invoicing. We also do drawdowns. They do their financial reports, final financial reports. They make sure that that our members are getting money in the door at the same rate that money's going out the door. So they're a very, very important part of our organization. And just to give you an idea, there's 20 AR accountants at SRS, and I feel like it's very important to see the kind of volume that these ladies are doing. But ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, I'm sorry if I offended anyone that was on the call. They're doing quite a load of invoices. I think Leonardo will probably talk a little bit about the initiative that we had a couple of years ago with the AR billing module that helped increase some efficiencies in that team. But as you can see, 14,500 invoices produced, plus the 1,800 accounts financial reports that we produce. And then we also do quarterly draws of almost 20,000. So that is quite a bit of work that is being done by those folks.
Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to David Hollingsworth, who's going to talk a little bit about the professional development and outreach initiatives here at SRS.
Well, it's my pleasure to discuss these professional development and outreach initiatives that we're doing. Just a reminder that we don't limit this to just the SRS staff, but most of these professional development initiatives are open to staff and faculty around the university system. So we have people from the other universities participating as well. First one I want to talk about is the Certified Research Administration, or CRA, review sessions. We started doing these, as you can see, a number of years ago, back in 2016. And if you're not familiar with the CRA, that's a certification that the Research Administrators Certification Council, known as RAC, has developed. And basically, it demonstrates that a person has the knowledge to be a professional researcher sponsored programs administrator. And one of the requirements is to pass a 250 question comprehensive exam on research administration. And they offer this exam twice a year, in November and in May. So twice a year, in the fall and in the spring, SRS conducts a 13-week series of presentations along with study materials to go through the CRA body of knowledge and help people pass the exam. We just started our latest one in February, and later today at noon, we're going to have our fourth session in the 13-week series. These are open and advertised to anyone in the Texas A&M University system. Currently, SRS has 33 of their people that have obtained their certification. Now, over the years, we've had many more people sit in on these sessions, and many more have actually received their CRA. Some have left SRS to go maybe work out in departments. And currently I looked it up, there are 19 folks that have their CRA that are currently employed with the other system members. And that may be in the research agencies or with other universities and the systems. And we believe that having a staff that has this certification, it's recognized by our sponsors and collaborators, that people that have this do have that professional and trained staff. And so we think that's important for the whole Texas A&M University family to have staff that are well-trained in research administration. One of our other initiatives is what you're listening to right now. It's our AnSRS4U monthly presentation. And we started those actually 2 years ago in February, right before the pandemic hit. But in FY20, so that was starting from February through September or through August, we had 872 contact hours. And so that's measured by the number of people that are listening and the time of the presentation. This last year, FY21, beginning in, again, September through August, we had 1,148 contact hours. And this year to date, starting in September, we've had 4 presentations with 351 contact hours. So all total, we've had 2,371 contact hours through these AnSRS4U presentations. And again, as I said, we open this up beyond just the SRS staff, because we have staff and faculty from across the A&M University system, including TAMU, Galveston, Health Science Center, our agencies like AgriLife, TEAS, and TTI, and other universities are involved as well. Just recently, this last fall, we began a series called AnSRS4U Express. And that's some short micro videos on a variety of research administration topics. Generally, these are under 5 minutes in length, so anyone can easily find time to watch them if you have a question about one of these topics. Currently, we have 18 videos out there on the SRS website, and we're working on more and adding more as we go along. And these are under the resources tab. So some of the topics you can see there, some non-financial contracts, material transfer agreements, non-disclosure agreements, presentations on preparing your proposal, what needs to go in an NIH file sketch or an AASET file sketch. So these are presentations that will be useful to your faculty to access. We're always looking for topics for these short micro videos, and also for the AnSRS4U presentation. So if you have any suggestions for future topics, just feel free to email those to me. Just want to mention our website. We've got a really great website that provides a lot of information to faculty and staff. One of the things on there is their contacts. We've got a drop down there, and you can put in your department, and it would tell you who your proposal administrator is, who your negotiator is, and your project administrator. Also, you can see the other types of things that are covered up there. We also have, as I mentioned, a resource tab, and under that tab are these presentations. We record these presentations and make those available so you can watch it on demand. The information about the CRA sessions is out there as well. And now we've added a new page that has basically sponsors updates. So if we get some new information from sponsors that we think the faculty would be interested in, or the staff, we will continually put the new updates out there. So now I'm going to turn it over to Leonardo, who's going to give us some information about what Maestro has been doing and some of the new initiatives we're working on.
Yeah, for those who don't know what Maestro is, I'll tell you that's a research system that supports all ANM system members. Our mission is to provide researchers with information needed to manage the research activity and also help research administration offices throughout ANM system to maximize their efficiencies, to streamline their processes and so on. Today, I'm going to focus mostly on what we've done in 2021, and we'll dedicate some time to the current projects. They are very soon going live. Okay. Some statistics here. In 2021, we have completed 341 development JIRA tickets. What are JIRA tickets? We've been constantly contacted by our users to add more functionality to Maestro, to improve existing functions, to maybe fix some bugs, and we track this in a ticket system. So last year, 341 of those tickets were completed. We had 12 major releases. That means our release had between 25 and 30 tickets in it. When it comes to our audience, you can see 14,407 unique users have logged into the system in 2021. Of those 14,000, almost 7,000, almost half were researchers. So this 14,000 number I have broken down also by members. So as you see here, our system mostly accessed by 5,000 people from TAMU access the system. 1,000 from Health Science Center, and third one on the list, about almost 900 is Corpus Christi. So all the agencies throughout the system are coming and using Maestro. Our accomplishments for the last year are broken into support and development. So when it comes to the support function of Maestro team, we have conducted more than 100 training sessions. Our training sessions are either virtual or in classroom. We do recommend that some of the classes are taken in classroom, hands-on. It's easier to understand the material, like a project administration class. Others are always conducted virtually, but if we're invited, we can come to our departments and do it also in your locations, the training sessions. During last year, we have developed 4 more classes. These classes are all on-demand classes. If you go to our website about Maestro training, you will see a schedule for our classes. Those that are not on a schedule are on demand, where we don't have that many participants, so you need to request from us to come and listen to that class. So classes added were project closeout, sponsor billing, quality control. We added last year new functions to that component, so we have a class for that, and the compliance administration. Also, when it comes to the documentation for our modules, we have user manuals. They were on our website for a long time, and we've been trying constantly to update them. But last year we have moved everything into Confluence repository, so now they are easy searchable. And so if you go to About Maestro documentation search, you can go and search by any item in Maestro. It will give you links where to go and which manual to navigate to and read about it. On development side, we, like I said, released 341 tickets. So I'm not going to talk about all 300 of them, but I have extracted few major projects here that it's nice to mention it. So one of the projects we completed is the researcher workflow enhancement, where we try to help researchers by improving their navigation and existing dashboard, automating some manual processes, and eliminating some steps to reduce their burden. So in a nutshell, what we've done is on the proposal side, we have eliminated some steps where they had to go and complete compliance statements, reporting codes, even before the proposal is routed. So now through the routing of the proposal, they have an option to complete these things. A compliance statement is much smaller and easier to complete on proposal level because We have added only components required by federal government. Everything else is moved on a project level. We are giving them option to complete these codes and also to come and enter all the personnel components of the proposal. On the project level, we have moved now compliance and the reporting codes to be immediately submitted as soon as we get the contract in place, for negotiation or awarded completely to be sent to researchers to complete totally. And so now the other thing what was done is a compliance statement is redesigned also to be much easier to complete. So here's an example of the project compliance statement. We had initially more than 35 items on the list. Now this is grouped in 10 different groups. And if you just need to deal with animals, you don't have to go through the whole list, just open the sections animals and respond to the questions needed on this place. Another worth mentioning project we've done is proposal quality control. We had the quality control component on proposal side, but we have added some additional functionality, mostly communication between the quality control people and proposal administration. They're now getting tasks, they're responding back to the proposal administrators. They have now reports to monitor what's being control, what's going through quality control, and also dashboard statistics are now present. On the sponsor billing project, this was a multi-year project. We worked on the last phase of this one. So the last phase included one very valuable component, and that is ability from Maestro to post the revenue directly to FAMUS. So at that point, we are now not wasting time and waiting for the updates overnight from FAMUS to see if revenue has posted there. So accounts receivable people, they can now today create manual invoice, immediately is posted revenue, prepare invoice, put in it and send it within an hour to the sponsor. So that was the major improvement on the billing side. Also, we have added invoice cancellation process to the system. In 2021, another big thing happened is we have finally started using ANSRS4U module in Maestro. So as you see, we have data from 2016 when we went live, but not all the system members used it at that time. So because A&M, you see here, TAMU hybrid member, A&M numbers are comprised of Texas A&M expenditures, but also all Galveston Health Science Center and all A&M agencies, and that all expenses are included in A&M number that we report to NSF. This year, all the members used Maestro and produced the numbers. So as you see, last year we reached a big $1 billion, 1.1 billion. This year we are also on 1.14. So what this system also allows him is to monitor through the year. Like we are in 2022 now, and as of now, as of end of January, we are on this number, and we can also monitor monthly how the expenses are growing and compare how it was in the prior years versus today, are we better or worse. So as I mentioned, this year, everybody used Maestro module. They used all calculations and all the components of it. And of course, ran into some issues. And so we had to go and do corrections. If we implemented everything and everybody started using in 16, we might have these corrections in place in 16. But this is what it means, really implementing the system. You are using it, and now you're discovering maybe some components are not really functional. So we had to implement some corrections this year. The other component we added to ANSRS4U is something that it's not sent to a federal government, but it's sent to A&M and it's used locally, and those are expenditure reports for colleges and departments. We have to add some mapping, some additional screens and stuff for this to happen. And so that is addition to this project this year. Also, last year, we were asked to develop a research metrics monitoring system. It was a request from TAMU VPR's office, and it was related to the TAMU strategic plan. They wanted to monitor metrics that would measure strategic plan effectiveness in these 4 categories. First categories was increased all research expenditures. So for this one, we didn't have to develop much. That was really hard, is managing this part. But there are 3 other metrics that we added. One is to increase by 100% number of sponsored projects with the PIs from different colleges, so multi-college collaborations. So here's example we started in May of last year, monitoring with 300 and something projects. They have collaborations, and as of now, to the last month, actually this month, we almost reached this goal, 100%. We have 600 and something projects. They have collaborative efforts on it. So also the other categories are increased by 100% number of funded projects for clinical research, increase 100% number of sponsor awards and fellowships in the humanities and social sciences. So as you see, there are different tabs here that monitoring these other. I just showed you one example of how this monitoring system is working right now. If the new leadership on an A&M level comes with new categories, we will be adding to this dashboard the additional categories. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about our current projects. We are very excited that these projects are going live very soon, at least components of these projects. So I'm going to give you a little bit more detail. So budget forecasting project started with just idea of having a forecasting component. So we had the working groups discussing, going through the discovery phase, discussing requirements, specifying all requirements. We had our screenshots and snap sketches of how things will work. And then the team came to a conclusion that project will not be successful unless we do have upfront loaded proposal budgets. So then we came to the idea, well, actually, AASET team and SRS volunteered, okay, at the award stage, we will be entering proposal budgets, and that would be entry point for the forecasting. So if we look at data flow, how things will work is AASET team will be entering for all those projects, proposals they are awarded. So awarded budgets will be entered in the system. What we have this now feature is that this budget entered in the system will automatically flow to FAMUS. And so we are saving them. They are doing extra work. They're inputting all the budgets here, but at least we're saving them going to FAMUS and doing this entry in a FAMUS. It's flowing directly from the system. But at the same time, this data will be flowing into forecasting so that researchers that start forecasting will already have those proposal budgets in the system, and all they have to do is just to manipulate numbers and move it from the periods, from categories, whatever they need to do. But starting point will already be there. Of course, everything flows into these dashboards, and dashboards will be used for the PIs and in departments to do the forecasting. So budget entry component of the forecasting is now at the moment, beta version is on training. So we have this software available. It's sitting on training and it's being tested by AASET team and PAs and SRS. What this component will do is we have created budget entry screens that will allow to go on essay level, use by ABR rule and budget period, and define, they are defined on anticipated funding screen to enter budgets. So if you remember, anticipated funding screen was used to enter all the years of the budgets. So if we had a 5-year budget, we will enter all 5 years. Of course, it was not used in the past in that capacity. Sometimes if it's like everything awarded immediately, we would just enter one period there. So here is a change. Change is coming that we are now deciding we're going to use anticipated periods to be periods in our budget. So year by year by year, what is each year of the budget will be entered in anticipated funding. And so when we have this, we now have on that proposal from the spreadsheets, if you look at proposal budget, everything is split by years. These years are now defined in the anticipated funding section. And we are on budget entry screen, allowing them to enter two components. One component is sponsored budget, and sponsored budget will always match this award budget. We might not post everything on a financial side because maybe some of the components of the budgets are not really approved yet. So financial side will really match the action amount if we look at action screen in the Maestro. So on the action side, we are now tying to the actions everything. Between anticipated funding, where all the budget periods are listed, and on the action screen, we're determining what is this action tied to, to budget, how it is tied to budget. At the moment, if you look at it, there is no ties there at all. You see these budget entries in Famous, and you don't know what is that tied to. We will allow this funding periods to be defined periods and combined with the budget entry. We are also bringing a function of prorating. If the budget is not fully awarded, it's awarded like 80% for the second period. We have this function immediately to recalculate everything. We have added prorates also on the detail level. A detail level at the moment will be allowing is to be a personnel detail for salaries and fringes. Later on, we will add other components. Other components are on the lump sum level at the moment. And one important feature for the function process here in SRS is that administrators will be able to route budgets. So let's say as the team enters budget and they want to post to Famous, they want to route, they can route it through Maestro to PA can approve it, change it, depends what they want to do with it, and then it will be automatically posted to Famous. So if we look at our budget entry on our project module, we will have now in execution sections under anticipated funding, new link budget. So this is that's showing up. This budget will have sections, a budget where the entries will be happening, and then we have a project level summary and billing project summary. Because we're entering all the budgets on account level, on SA level, we thought that it would be very beneficial to also give you summary on a very high level. So you will see summaries on both levels, either project or billing project. On the budget tab, when we are in entry mode, we will be able to enter sponsor budget or financial budget. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so on sponsor budget entry screen, what you can do is see here is for funding periods, and funding periods selected could be I'm entering only sponsor budget for first period, sequence 1, or am I entering for all 5 sequences. But down here, you will see based on ABR rule, all the object class codes, all pools are showing up. And for each period, they have option to enter exactly how much it is. If there is a link here, for example, salaries and wages, that means detail can be entered. So you are not entering detail here, you're going to the detail level and entering it. On the detail level, you can, what's gonna happen is you have an option to import this, icon will import all people from the project personnel. And on this point, we will now give you to enter detailed data for those people. If some of them are not paid on this account, you just remove them and then enter salaries, fringes, and the percent months. Financial side of the budget, it's basically shows what is sponsored budget. It brings us what is together in Famous right now. What is the balance budget entry in Famous, but also gives you by each period what is a sponsored budget and how much was posted for this first period in Famous. So this is the component that I mentioned, it doesn't exist. We can see now at the moment only this component, how much is all together, but we don't know what was posted for year 1, what was posted for year 2. So these things are now going to be very visible. You'll see by each year of the budget, what is already posted in Famous. So this is one action that I have here is like we're moving this money between 2 categories. And so what they're saying is for posting in this action, I want to post now and move money between these two categories. Once you do that and then click here posting, what will happen is you'll get this picture where it says, okay, this is what's happened. You're moving money between these two. This is going to be your new look. This is new budget, how it's going to look like. You confirm posting and you go straight to Famous. So they skipping, going to Famous, logging to screen 10B and posting all these details because it's automatically coming from here. Researchers will also be able to see this budget. What we're gonna give them for now, before they start getting whole forecasting component, we will give them on a project level here, budget tab. They will see summaries by budget. So if you look at here, sponsored budget, they can see for each period of the budget, all 5 years is listed in different colors, and they see by categories how much is allocated in each. So it's a nice picture of how much money and how money will be allocated on the project. This is a difference between really what is in awarded amount versus sponsored. Another component, if they want to go, researchers can click on certain year of the project, and they can see exactly by categories and by accounts how this budget in that year is being split. Of course, like I mentioned, this is now on training, and if we don't get any major issues on the current software, it will be released. Budget entry component will be released in the beginning of March. That means next week, by the end of next week. After that, of course, we're going to be fixing requirements, move this field here and then name it this way. And that's all expected, but we are going to start then going back to budget forecasting component and try to pick up where we left off. We already have designs on my own dashboard. We have portfolio management ideas, how it's going to be happening. We have detailed personnel forecasting component that we discuss with users. Summary forecast for the other category will be done in detail only on the personnel. Ability to add narratives will have forecast versioning, and security and forecast sharing will be designated based on user roles. So this is coming now after budget entry as a second phase of the project. The next project is co-sharing, and I'll talk about co-sharing phase 1 and 2. Phase 1 will consist of requirements and transactions. It will go live beginning of April. That's very soon. And then we'll move to phase 2, all detailed reports and dashboards. So if we look at a little more in detail, phase 1 will have kosher requirements entry, kosher transactions entry, automated import for all kosher transactions, automated calculation of unrecovered IDC on research and kosher projects. We'll automated sponsor kosher reports generation. So everything that is attached to invoices will be automatically generated from Maestro, and kosher search screen will be available. We're pushing into phase 2, notifications of required kosher reports and enabling report certification process, administrative dashboard statistics, and specialized departmental reports that would include encumbrances and the rest what they wanted. So quickly, kosher requirement screen, we have, if those who are familiar with kosher entries in Famous see immediately that we have added much more components here. We have now component, is it mandatory or voluntary, is it reportable and non-reportable? And we have come up with a kosher group. So we have a member cost versus in-kind versus sub-awardee cost, unrecovered IDC. So there are multiple groups that we need to assign to. If there is a member cost, then we have account is required to be entered. And we have also added components where they can see that they enter unrecovered IDC rate and base that will be used to calculate unrecovered based on activity on these projects. So this is a requirement. We enter requirement here. The other component that is available, we entering direct and indirect. On Famous side, it was only total. So it was very not very user-friendly for the departmental people to understand how much of direct they need to spend. On kosher transaction side, we are going to be entering automatically from the system at the end of the month all transactions that happen on kosher projects. So it's something that's automated, but if there is in the middle of the month and you need to produce the invoice today and you need to have, as of today, all kosher transactions, we're giving them this option here, import, and you will be able to import all transactions manually as of today and have everything on the report. So as you see, we have required, we have actual, and we have how much remain to be posted, direct and indirect. One piece that did not exist in Famous and was a totally manual effort on SRS side is actually when you look at this account and when you look at this actuals, you don't know how much is actually by categories required versus actual, because this required was never entered. And so now they will be entering by categories how much is required, and we will be bringing forward how much is really actual. So when you produce reports, then you'll have that. Another screen, very important, not just for the kosher administrators and specialists, there will be a new role in Maestro, is this search screen where I've entered department code and member cost as a category, and they can see all requirements for the department. Also, if they want to enter PI, it's the responsible person on account, they can see by PI. Pretty much it will be searchable by every field in koshering module, so it will be easy to do. In this first phase, we're also planning, you're familiar with this look on the invoices, we will be adding 4 different reports based on requirements. If we need a by category look of kosher, you see, this is what is needed by categories on the sponsor projects, and we don't have this in Famous. So that's why this is a major change in our system. We had to go and add all the categories to be entered. So now we will be able to produce reports straight out of the system. And then if we need by subcode, we'll have another more detailed, but with all transactions or with payroll data, very similar to the invoicing, we will be producing also kosher reports.
For the sake of time, we'll just go over these next couple of slides quickly because we want to leave some time for questions and answers. And I think that we have some chats, and we'll come back and make sure that we pick those up and answer any questions there. So feel free to either put your questions in chat, or when we open it up for questions, just unmute yourself and ask those. So real quickly, the accomplishments. As Leonardo talked about a while ago, on the FY20 HERD report, A&M is ranked 14th. That was up from spot 22 the year before, and it was about an 18.8% increase. So we all feel really busy at SRS and in the departments. It's a testament to the great investigators that we have here, the outstanding research that they're doing, and the jobs that everyone is doing supporting them. The Maestro enhancements, Leonardo covered those, some pretty exciting stuff going on there. The outreach and training programs, David covered those, some pretty exciting stuff there. Be sure and send us your ideas for those. CAIUS, I think we talked a little bit about CAIUS. If anybody has questions about what that is, let us know. I'm not sure we went into detail about that, but if there's questions, we'll be happy to answer those. The communication with faculties and administrators. We're probably as excited about these 2 things, even as small as they are, because they really gave us some avenues of communication to the administrators and the faculty by getting 2 new listservs. We would be in meetings with some, maybe the CPI or URC, and they were not aware of some of the things that we were doing at SRS to support the research community. So these listservs have been really important for us to stay in touch with our investigators. Streamline services, we were able to do some streamlining within the organization and find some efficiencies that allowed us to reallocate some of our FTEs to some core functional areas. This is something we do ongoing in SRS. We're always evaluating our staff, as you saw from the metrics. And the statistics, we're always looking at workloads, where we need people, making sure that we don't have bottlenecks, so that we provide that outstanding service that we're always looking to provide. All right, future initiatives. The Maestro enhancements, again, I think Leonardo's covered those really well. We used to hold office hours in person pretty frequent prior to the COVID. And now we're looking at other options. So we're doing some office hours via Zoom, but we'll also do those in person if folks would like. So if anyone here would like to have office hours by your SRS support staff, let us know. We'd be happy to set that up. We have done some personalized training sessions when requested. Again, happy to do that. We're here to support our members and the research community at large. Weekly meetings with system members. We have some really large projects that were awarded in the last year or two. And they're so big that we have set up weekly meetings with some of those investigators and their staff. We're happy to do that when and where needed. So if anyone would like that level of support, let us know. We're going to continue our training and outreach. Again, I think AnSRS4U was very much needed, and I think it's been really successful. So we plan to continue that, and strategic planning. So with that, that wraps us up.